This season, the Southern League Premier Division Central promises to be one of the most competitive leagues in the country. So much so that I'm going to be visiting all 22 grounds in the division and ranking them out of 40 points based on their atmosphere, playing surface, food, facilities, view, accessibility and the overall matchday experience. My series began at the Stotto Stadium, home of Quorn, as they continued their impressive start to the season with a draw against Stourbridge, though they were unlucky not to take all 3 points. And the Stotto Stadium is a brilliant matchday experience, scoring them an impressive 27 out of 40 points and putting them in a strong position right at the start. But how would my next ground compare? In order to find out, I had to travel to the Black Country, and the second stadium in my series is the Grove, home to my pre-season league favourites, Halesowen Town. This was my first visit to the Grove, but it's a stadium that's been on my list for quite some time, and just take a look at that playing surface. Halesowen Town had made a solid start to the season with home wins against Barwell and Rail Bedford, and draws away to Leiston and Stamford, putting them 5th going into this one. Their opponents were newly promoted Worcester City, who began the day in 20th, having lost to Quorn and Needham Market and taken a point off Banbury United and Bury Town, so they go into this one still searching for their first win of the season. So, unbeaten Halesowen Town against winless Worcester City. This could only go one way, couldn't it? I caught up with Halesowen Town captain Jamie Willets ahead of Monday's fixture. How are you getting on with Halesowen so far? Obviously, we kind of touched on that a second ago. Joined midway through last season. How are you getting on so far since the permanent move?
So since the permanent move, it's been going really well, to be fair. I mean, we've played 4 games so far, won 2, drawn 2. The 2 we played at home, won both of them, and then we've drawn the 2 away from home. So if we carry on that trajectory, we win our home games and we draw our away games, then we should be looking for a good, successful season. I mean, I enjoy it there. The lads there, I get on really well with. I get on well with the management team and, the ground itself, the pitch, the supporters. It's a nice move for me. I'm really enjoying my time there.
That's good to hear. And I made a prediction at the start of the season, and I had Halesowen not only as one of my title contenders, but I had you as the top team at the end of the season. And you've made a strong start, as you said. You've won your first 2. You've won your home games, drawn your away games. A bit of a statement win against Rail Bedford as well. I think they're meant to be one of the favourites. So, what are your thoughts on that season so far? Obviously, we're very early on.
Yeah. I mean, last year Halesowen made the playoffs, and it was one of them where they did eventually lose out to Telford, who then went on to get promoted. So I think the goal has to be, when you make the playoffs, the next year has to be, right, we've got to kick on again, and obviously at the minimum is trying to get playoffs again, if not actually go one step further and become champions. But it's not going to be easy. I mean, there's some fantastic sides at our level. I mean, you've got Harbour. I mean, they were already a very good team last year, and some of the additions that they've made, that they're only going to be a massive force to be reckoned with. Spalding with Jimmy Dean as manager. He was the ex-Gunthorpe manager a couple of seasons ago, so they're a strong force to be contending with as well. Rail Bedford, as you mentioned just a minute ago, the money that they got back in them, and when we played against them, some of the football they play, they are going to carve a few teams open, to be fair. And there might be a few surprise packages as well, to be fair. Just trying to think now. I mean, Quorn have made a good start, to be fair. Kettering, how can I forget about them? Obviously, Kettering have. It's one of them. They've got a new manager in, the ex-Banbury manager, and they've started off strongly. 4 wins from 4. Bishop Stortford. I mean, I played against them a couple of years ago at Tamworth, and it seems that they've got a completely brand new team, and they've started off very strongly. 4 wins from 4. So very early days still. I mean, it's everyone can still speculate in August, September time, can't we? But the table doesn't really start to make its way around to what it might eventually look like until around about Christmas time, does it really? So I might be able to answer your question a little bit better around about them. But in terms of us, we just got to keep focusing on the next game. The manager's not really one of these managers who's thinking, in April or anything like that. He's thinking, right, our next game is Worcester City. So that is all our focus is on, not bothered about any other teams, what they're doing. As long as we focus on ourselves, then that's all we can do.
And on to tomorrow then. You've got newly promoted Worcester City coming to the Grove. You might not have played them for quite a while. I'm not sure if you've ever come up against Worcester City in your career, but what are your thoughts ahead of tomorrow's game?
Do you know what? I was speaking about this to a mate of mine the other week, and I don't think I have ever played Worcester City, not even in a friendly. I'm trying to wrap my brain. Like the last 16 years I've been playing, I don't think I've ever encountered them because they've either been in the National League North when I've been lower down, or they've been down in the Middle League when I've been higher up. So it's been one of them where I don't think we've ever encountered. And they're going to be tough opposition. You know, like they've had back-to-back promotions, so that confidence, that momentum is with them. The manager is a good bloke, to be fair, and he knows his stuff. Chris Corns, I do rate him really highly as a manager. And some of the additions that they've made in, you know, obviously I know Dan Sweeney, he's a very, very good striker, and on his day he's the best in the league. Nathan Hayward in centre midfield is a very, very good midfielder, to be fair. I've played with Liam Lockett in the past as well. He's a tricky winger and he can cause us problems. So there's a few players that they've got in their team, you know, who are going to cause a few issues tomorrow. But hopefully we'll be on top of it, and hopefully we can get the result we want. But we're not taking Worcester City lightly at all, albeit they've got 2 points from 4 games. You know, if you actually take a look at the 4 games they played in, they could have actually got a result from any of them. So, you know, they're going to be a good team. They're going to bring a big crowd with them tomorrow. They're going to make a bit of noise. They're going to get in our faces. They're going to make it really difficult for us. And it's one of them where hopefully we can do a job and get the 3 points.
Yeah, and Worcester City are very much like Hereford. When I started watching football about 30 years ago, Hereford's rivalry was always Worcester City. Obviously, we've had our problems. You played yourself for the Phoenix Club when we reformed. Worcester City almost lost their club, so it does look as though they're kind of on the way back up. And yeah, they've made a poor start to the league, but I don't think there are any standout weak sides in this division. I think anyone could take points off anyone on their day.
Yeah, I mean, last season when I think I played like 11 or 12 games for Halesowen. I actually said to the manager in the off season, I said my hardest game was against Biggleswade. Like they finished bottom of the league and they barely had like 18 or 19 points across the season. But the striker they had, I couldn't get to grips with him. Whereas like other teams, they don't necessarily like. It's a bit of a different kind of contest, but it was like, as you say, any team can take points from anyone, to be fair. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I do not anticipate Worcester City to be finishing anywhere near the bottom half of the table. Like, I look at their management team, I look at their players, and, you know, I think they've got a bit of a centre-half injury crisis at the minute. I think they've got 2 or 3 out. So as soon as they get them back and they get firing on all cylinders, I fully anticipate Worcester City will be a top 10 team in our league. I don't anticipate that the start they've made will be something that will continue on with them. I really don't. So we're in for a really tough game tomorrow, and hopefully we stand up to it, and hopefully we get the 3 points.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on Worcester. Well, thanks for your time, Jamie. I massively appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate you taking the time to do that, and good luck tomorrow.
No, cheers. My pleasure, mate. And obviously, if you want to do like any vlogs or any interviews, anything like that in the future, then obviously just give me a shout. I'll be more than happy to do it.
As I've been advised that there's no on-site parking at the football club, we arrived at the Grove a couple of hours before kick-off. While there is no parking at the ground, there's plenty of streets nearby to park on. We parked just down the road on Old Horn Lane, so no issues there at all. The turnstiles hadn't opened by the time we got there, so we took a walk up the road to the Yeltz bar, which is just a couple of 100 yards from the ground. It was already starting to get lively in there, but we were still able to find a seat. When the turnstiles opened, we checked out the club shop. I bought this pin badge and then just had to try the food. I enjoyed a double cheeseburger while my wife commented that she was impressed the Grove serves chicken burgers, so she had one of those. The food was decent, but you can see my full ranking towards the end of this video. I've split it into chapters so you can easily skip ahead if you want to. Just take a look at this view of the immaculate playing surface. This stadium offers a great view from pretty much everywhere. I was really impressed with it. The Grove has plenty of food kiosks on site, as well as a hospitality suite for match sponsors, and the James Grove Lounge is a nice place to get a pre-match drink. The Grove has one main seated area, the Harry Rudge stand, which has a family enclosure and just over 400 seats. The shed end to its left is where most of the noise comes from on a match day, and at the other ends of the ground you have both the home and away terrace, which due to their elevation above the playing surface, they offer a great view. The stewards were kind enough to let me take some videos in the away end despite my home ticket, and you can see here just how good the view is for a visiting supporter. Cheers. So with the atmosphere building, out came the 2 teams with Halesowen Town in blue and Worcester City in yellow. Surely this one would end up with a Halesowen win.
the same as before, isn't it?
But just like Hereford on Saturday, what a dreadful start this was for the home side. Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on. Half-time, Halesowen Town 0, Worcester City 2. In a first half that saw the visitors clearly sticking to their game plan and the home side looking a little flustered. The game itself had been pretty even, but Halesowen made a couple of mistakes that were punished. On to the second half then. I know. Go. Oh. After a frustrating second half, I commented to my wife that despite a poor performance overall, Jamie Willets had been solid. And seconds after I made that comment, he lost possession in front of his own goal and gifted Worcester their third. That caught me totally off guard, so here's a very zoomed in version of this neat finish to put Worcester 3-0 up. Game over. Oh dear.
And he used to City, and I was one of them. So he was into years before I got in. And he was like, now everybody's leaving. I'm not interested, it's not my
So final score, Halesowen Town 0, Worcester City 3, and something of a shock result at the Grove. That result drops Halesowen just outside the playoffs into 7th, while Worcester City climb out of the relegation zone into 14th, but it's still very early in the season. I still think Halesowen Town will be right up there come April, and I think Worcester are good enough to be nowhere near the relegation zone, but let's see what happens. Next weekend, both sides have a bit of a break from the league, with it being FA Cup weekend. Halesowen will host Stratford Town, while Worcester City are home to Chase Town. And I caught up with Russ Penn following his team's first defeat of the season. So I'm here with Halesowen Town manager Russ Penn after we've just watched Worcester City come away with a 3-0 win. Firstly, could you just give me your thoughts on that game today?
Well, there ain't a lot of thoughts, to be honest, mate, John. But yeah, disappointed. First defeat of the season, and to lose it in that manner is truly disappointing. But listen, I've been here before. You've got to dust yourselves off and go again. You know, our home form's been fantastic of late, and we found a game today that was a game too far, and we were nowhere near it. So yeah, we're looking for a reaction now.
And the next game, I believe, is Stratford Town again here in the FA Cup. Obviously, we'll be hoping for a bounce back. Just give us your thoughts on obviously the
100%. And listen, it's a great game for us after today. I wish it was tomorrow. Well, it's the FA Cup. We can take our head away from the league situation now. It's been an okay month. It would have been really good if we got some points today, but it is what it is, and it's an average start. But listen, we're a new group. We need to do a lot more. But it's a time where we can get our FA Cup heads on now and enjoy that occasion going into Saturday.
And obviously last season it was playoff semi-final defeat to Telford United. What are Halesowen's ambitions for this season? Is it to go one better, or is it playoffs again?
Well, listen, I think expectations for any club, when you've done something, you want to go one further. I think the league's slightly stronger, albeit we've lost Telford. I think some of the money that's getting thrown about is unbelievable. But we're a big club at this level, and I think over the last two years, we've made this club a big club, and the expectations got to be up there. So listen, I think our ambition is to be really competitive, at least finish in the top 5, which will be really tough, and then see where we go from there.
And I did a sort of prediction for this league at the start of the season where I had you winning the title. I'm sure you'd be happy with that. But I had Harbour Town and Rail Bedford as your main competitors right at the top. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, listen, Harbour have recruited tremendously well. Yes, okay, they're paying some good money. But listen, no one cares about that when you're top of the league. They beat Kettering today. They'll be the ones to beat. I think Rail Bedford will find the feet. And listen, I think we're 5 games in. And we finished on 72 points last year. My ambition is to beat that 72-point mark. And, you know, if we can win the league, like you said, I'll be over the moon.
Brilliant.
But we need to be better than today.
definitely need a bounce back. Thanks for your time, Russ.
Thanks, mate.
Appreciate you coming on. So how does the Grove rank then? These stadiums will be scored out of 5 based on atmosphere, playing surface, food, facilities, view and accessibility, with the stadium and experience overall being ranked out of 10. Let's start with the atmosphere then. Well, the Grove is easily going to be one of the best in this league, with over 2,000 fans in attendance on Monday. And while I still have to score them very high, the atmosphere did change drastically after Worcester's second goal. But I guess that does happen in a lot of grounds. Halesowen Town's atmosphere gets a solid 4 out of 5. Next up is the playing surface, and it's immaculate, isn't it? To put into perspective, this was Edgar Street on Saturday, and despite the hot, dry weather, the Halesowen pitch looked incredible on Monday, and at one point my wife couldn't work out if it was grass or artificial, so that's a huge credit to the groundsman. I have to give this one top marks. That's a 5 out of 5 playing surface. As for the food, the Grove does have a lot of options available, and it's decent, but in terms of football ground food in general, it's fairly standard. I had a double cheeseburger which was nowhere near as good as Bromsgrove Sporting's, but it was way nicer than the burger I had at Buxton, so I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. The Grove's facilities are good, and the best thing about them is they have toilets and food kiosks all over the ground, so they accommodate the large crowds well. 3.5 out of 5. As for the view, well, it's great pretty much wherever you choose to watch from. The uncovered terracing is probably the best view, but it doesn't offer any protection from the sun or the rain, with the only real obstruction being in the shed end when it's busy. You might get a tall person standing in front of you. Solid 4 out of 5. For accessibility, I'm not just talking disabled access, but how accessible this stadium is in general. For example, does it have on-site parking? Is it easy to get to? And while the Grove is an easy ground to get to, its lack of on-site parking could make things difficult should you be pushed for time on a busy match day. I didn't see an allocated disabled section at the Grove, but the club do make it clear on their website that they will accommodate anyone's need on a match day, so they get a 3 out of 5. So what about the stadium and matchday experience overall? Well, this section is scored out of 10, and I'm not basing it on the size or overall attendance, but my experience on the day, and the Grove is excellent. Not only did Halesowen Town make me feel extremely welcome, but the coaching staff and Russ Penn took the time to speak to me after the game, despite the poor performance on the pitch. This is easily going to be one of the most impressive stadiums in this league, and although the game itself wasn't great, I was very impressed with Halesowen Town. The matchday experience at the Grove gets a massive 8 out of 10. So with Quorn being the only ground I've ranked so far, how will Halesowen Town compare? Well, overall the Stotto Stadium scored a very respectable 27 out of 40, but the Grove jumps into the top spot with a total of 30.5 out of 40. Can anyone beat that? My next Southern League Premier Central Stadium will be the Harborough Town Community Football Ground on the 9th of September, as they play none other than Quorn. Well, that's unless I manage to squeeze another ground in the meantime. Let's see. Thank you to Halesowen Town for such a brilliant matchday experience on Monday, with a special mention to Club Secretary John Cooper, who set up my interview with Russ, and Russ Penn and Jamie Willets, who took the time to speak to me before and after the game. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you've enjoyed this video, or if you want to see your club stadium ranked. My next vlog comes from the YMCA Sports Village for the derby between Newark Town and Newark and Sherwood United. Thanks for watching. Boop 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 boop.